around here. It's been sanded. It's ready. And now, what do you get it prepped to? 400?
If you're base coating,
600.
we
Yeah,
like to
base
see
coating.
600.
600.
If you're single stage enamel, polyurethane enamel, 320 is typically okay. Depends on if the customer is sealing it, using urethane sealer or not. Makes a huge difference. Our primers, most any of our urethane primers, if they're sanded appropriately, do not require a sealer because they're strong enough, have enough color holdout to make that work. Some of the old schoolers like to seal.
Now here, I'll date myself. See, when I started, I'm an old guy. We used to have a hot plate on the table.
Sure.
And Dulux. You remember Dulux?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, you heat that up. Lacquers back then, and then we went to acrylic enamels. You put the little hardeners in it. We moved ahead, and then we got base coat, clear coats, and it keeps progressing.
Waterborne.
Well, I haven't had to go there yet, but that's where we're going, I guess.
It's not a must, but it is an option.
Mm-hmm.
We have a couple shops using that right now with great success.
Well, we mixed our paint here a little while ago.
Sure.
We're calling it ketchup red.
And it's base coat?
It's a base coat, clear coat.
This panel, if it was properly body filled, primed, sanded to the 600 grit over the primer, you could go directly to this with base coat unless it was black. Black is a real thin carbon product and it wants to suck down into the primer and cause dieback and some loss of adhesion. So we recommend a sealer over it, a good urethane top coat sealer, that's the only color that's necessary in, or any color that is what I would say 60% black. There's a lot of blue blacks out there that 60% of it's black. The rest is inert colors that doesn't affect it if it's over just primer. So those we need sealer underneath them.
And there's a single stage. It's almost like an old enamel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So single stage, you can just blast it on there, and if it's a solid color, I don't have a real problem with it.
No. Going direct level primer with single stage is typically fine.
But most of what we do, our guys do a lot of graphics.
So
and you talked about metallics flopping, and I don't know if we talked about flop as far as matching, but you got the flip and the flop and the way the metallic lays and everything else.
Well, if it's a true custom job, the way it is applied isn't as crucial as if you're trying to match a collision repair.
Right.
So whatever it comes out, it's always custom regardless. It's just being able to match it on the other side to side, which you can't look at both sides at the same time, but you want to try to match as close as possible. So you need to keep the same air pressures, the same solvents to reduce the product. Also, you want to use the same gun as much as possible.
So we got our base coat on. It's time to put some clear on.
Oh yeah, put the base coat on.
And I'm doing flames on this one.
Okay, so you've had plenty of flash time for the base color, the solid part of the car to be done, and then you put some flames on. Sometimes intercoat clears are necessary.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get to. Intercoat clear. Now I got some of my red on, a little bit yellow, and what are my flames? What am I doing in between there? You say intercoat clear. What is that?
Intercoat clear is a clear used to lock down flames or stripes or any kind of airbrushing. It's also a product to reopen the window of clearability on your existing color that you've already shot down, your mass tone color. Okay, because sometimes by the time that mass tone color is sprayed to the time the graphics and stuff are done could be up to 24 hours.
Okay, my brain is starting to hurt. You're talking to a guy that, like, I dropped out of high school.
Sure.
I've gone to more PPG schools with certificates than anything else, and there's windows. You can put this sealer on, and what's our window before I have to sand it?
The sealer or the primer?
Or the primer. And DP we use sometimes as a sealer.
Yeah, you've got up to 4 days to do anything with it.
Up to 4 days. Now, but if you don't paint it within 4 days, you've got to scuff it again.
You've got to sand it, and according to PPG, you've got to actually reapply it.
Okay, so when we talk windows, there's a time frame where we can go back into something, or a time frame we can, if you sand it too fast and try to go over it, it may lift. So
sensitivity windows is what we call the lifting issues. Repaintability windows is the other one.
And they're real. It's not a made-up thing.
Exactly. There is issues that they are tested, and it's all has variables, but there is limitations.
Okay, so busting out, getting my flames done, and this intermediate clears. What do you call these fancy clears? 5Bs, 500 intercoat clear. I like 500.
DBC 500.
DBC 500. It dries fast. It's almost like an old lacquer clear.
Sure, you bet.
That I can go back on. I can sand a little bit if it's a little rough.
Exactly.
But I'm not sanding my flames off. I've just covered what I put down once, and then I can go back over it again.
And every time you put a new flame system on or a new stripe on it, lock it down. What I mean lock it down is basically clear coat it, but clear coat it with a clear base coat. So if you get a little blow by with your airbrush or a splatter, you can actually either almost wipe it off with sandpaper with fine grit with grease and wax remover as your lubricant.
If
works awesome.
You just went all the way to your bottom of your
and that 9 hours of tedious airbrushing is negated. I mean, it's gone.
We're looking good. I like it. Everything's good. It's pretty slick. Now it's time for clear, real clear.
Clear coating, the glamour, the durability.
UV protection.
UV protection, the color holdout. It's typically the clear is the workhorse on that end. The epoxy primer is the workhorse on the substrate. The foundation, clear coat is the beauty. It's the durability. If this panel was painted, airbrushed how it was wanted, had the windows appropriate to put clear on. Basically, you mix up appropriate amount of clear to do it. With this panel being so small, it's not going to take much. But doing a roadster body or T-bucket, you're going to mix up, a couple quarts of clear. And most of our clears are 2-coat clears, if put on in the right application.
Well, and that's another thing. I can put on as much paint in 2 coats as some guys take 3 coats.
Exactly. It's all.
But it's about the mills. You have to have the right amount of paint on there, or it won't work properly.
But in the custom end, there's a lot more sanding and polishing involved because of orange peel and because of the leveling characteristics of the stripes and decals or airbrushing that's on there. You have to put on quite a bit more in the front end to get it to look like it would
if you're going to take off half of it to get that glass finish. You took off half of it, so you better make sure you've got twice as much on. Correct.
And when you put more on, you stretch those windows of repaintability to the max. That way you allow maximum evaporation of the solvent that is used to put the clear on the panel.
Okay. So I think we've been trained.
Sure.
PPG used to give a cool jacket. I think I'm gold certified. I just saved like a whole weekend worth of training here. Do I get a jacket with this one?
No.
No, I don't get another certificate that says I know how to do it now?
Maybe a burger.
Burger?
Yeah.
Fat burger.
Fat burger.
Fat burgers for everybody.
Maybe a fat burger.
We've got ketchup red for the color of the car. We got a mustard yellow as the color of the flames.
Well, you've got to have some green on there.
Some green?
Yeah, for the lettuce.
Richard, when he says something, I'm going to have him call you.
Sure.
All right, that's it.
Thank you.
Now we know how to paint a car.
Almost.